Well, I'm with Tim Baker, who's chairman of Alban Meats, and year 3 as such since all the big turnaround. So I thought it's a good chance now to catch up with you again. Where is it up to now? It was a ship that had to be turned around, wasn't it? Basically,
absolutely. And you're right. At the end of March 2018, we restructured the meat plant into the new vehicle, Alban Meat Company Limited, with effectively DEFRA controlling the majority of the positions on the board and the providing the funding and the ownership. And I was appointed as chairman then, which was a sort of extension of my DEFRA departmental role. So we're 3 years in. We're obviously now just in the early parts of the 4th year. Really pleased with where we've got to with it. I mean, it was a fundamentally broken organisation back in 2018. It had the axe hanging over it for an awful long time, both before the 2016 election and subsequently. There've been reviews ongoing. There've been consultants looking at it, and it was a problem that just seemed to run and run. There seemed to be no solution for it. But now, absolutely delighted. We've got a really good management team led by Phil Parsons. We've got a very, very strong board, which I chair with non-execs on it, with a DEFRA representative, with a representative of the Fat Stock Marketing Association, so the farmers are on board. There's an independent agricultural consultant, and the 2 executive directors, Phil and Jodie Buffton, the finance director, are both full parts of the board. So really delighted. We're growing the business. We grew by 9% in the year just ended, and seeing some real growth in local sales.
I mean, getting the Manx public to buy in, isn't this half the battle still, that making sure that they come to your Manx meat rather than looking at the meat that's just coming from goodness knows where?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a great product. Our farmers produce a fantastic quality product. It's bred in very good conditions. It's there's good health status for the flocks and for the herds. There's obviously very strong provenance around which farmers produce which animals, and often down to the whole lineage of the animal and which fields they've been brought up in. Very short food miles, which is a great thing in terms of the current climate, which actually makes better quality meat because the animals are less stressed. So we have a great product. The routes to market have been a challenge, and getting the pricing right for consumers.
Subventions are still there, right? I mean,
subventions there, yeah. I mean, it's an entity that wouldn't exist if just left to market forces. So part of the underpinning of the restructuring of the meat plant was a recognition that it was a strategic asset. I remember Minister Boots twice on Hansard saying the meat plant is one of the island's key strategic assets, and if you have a strategic asset, you have to preserve it, whether it's airports, whether it's sea links, whether it's the meat plant. So that was recognised. The funding was continued. The business was restructured. Operationally, we've really improved things. The standards in there are great. All the accreditations are in place. We're back in Tesco's, as you know.
That was a big one, wasn't it? I mean, to get recognised by the standards of these people, it's incredible, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we have what's called a BRC accreditation, which Tesco's demand, because obviously we're trading with them in Douglas, but they've got to have the same standards as they would have in the UK. And strategically, it was really important that ring of confidence around the Tesco relationship. And we put in a very targeted range around the roasting joints, initially lamb and beef. And we're now moving down the direction of more everyday products around mince and diced products. And we've just signed off north of £150,000 investment in a new facility within the meat plant, which will be bringing packaged products to market for both mince and diced beef and lamb, and that should be hitting not just Tesco's, as you mentioned, but ShopRite and other customers in the very near future.
Other big multiples, are they on the side yet? I mean, where are we up to? I mean, that was a big headlining one, but there are others to challenge still, and they're not something
we've got a good relationship with Co-op. Some of their challenges are that they don't have butchery facilities in many of their branches, so they need more of a packaged product, which I'm absolutely certain that they will be wanting to move forward with an enhanced range of mince and dice. They have been taking the mince and dice products over the past few months, but it's been on quite a low key. Potential to distribute to some of their other stores as well if we've got a packaged product that we can deliver direct. ShopRite, our real growth with that account, and we're working very much with them, their buying team, to get more Manx products into their range as well. And I think they recognise that it's a real strength for them being a locally owned retailer to have a stronger suite of Manx products, and of course they're watching our relationship with Tesco's and Co-op as well. So
how's your to-do list looking then? I mean, you're ticking off things by the sounds of it, but I mean, and you kind of have to go to an election yet, so things will be up in the air, will they, or do you stay on and
so my appointment as chair is interesting. I'm appointed as an individual, as although I'm not remunerated for it, it's seen as part of my public service under my political role. I'm not appointed as a political member or as minister, so I can continue or not continue depending on whatever DEFRA as the key shareholder requires. Now, I mean, clearly, there is an election coming, and I may get re-elected or I may not. I would be willing to continue in the chair of Alman Meats role, whichever of those outcomes were to arise, because I think it is very, very important to the Isle of Man. We know that if you lost the meat plant, you would be having huge numbers of animals being shipped off the island.
Well, it's been happening, and obviously you've got to convince all the farmers that they're going to get the right numbers. Likewise, the public, when they buy the food, they want to see the prices close, I suppose.
And the pricing is a matter for the retailer. We can agree a price with them. It's up to them what they go out to their customer base at, and what margin they require to make. I mean, of course, they provide that route to market, and they have to price it to what suits them, and it's a commercial negotiation. And we've got great relationships with Tesco's, with ShopRite, with Co-op, with the local wholesalers and the butchers, and the management team has done a really good job in building some of those relationships, because it hasn't always been the case that those have been in place. So in terms of the to-do list, this mince project is a big thing, as is improving our margins. The market is really, really tough. 2/3 of our product goes off to the UK.
2/3?
2/3, yeah, from Alman Meats.
That's a big market you can still grab then, I guess, at some point, if that's doable. Yeah?
Absolutely. There is plenty of growth potential. We've got a really good strategic partner in Northgate Foods over in the UK. They work really hard to open up new opportunities. They're managing the product that we've got available for the UK, and we've challenged them to improve our selling prices and the returns that we're getting, because we do need to make sure that the financial performance of Alman Meats improves going forward. The subvention is stable, but of course we want to make sure that we're less reliant on subvention going forward. But whilst the headline in cash terms subvention has not reduced, actually in terms of the subvention per kilogram of output, it's dropped by 20% over the last 2 years, and that's because we've been driving more productivity through the plant and more output. So we've significantly grown Alman Meats. That means that the taxpayer is getting better value for the same amount of money that's going in there. And the other point with Alman Meats is that money is recycled back into the local economy. So we spend something like 7 million a year back to the farmer on the island. We employ a significant number of people on the island directly in the meat plant, and indirectly through the supply chain. And actually, if this was a new proposition coming to Department for Enterprise, setting up on the Isle of Man, I'm absolutely certain that Lawrence Skelly and his exec team would be really keen to attract a business like Alman Meats here. So sometimes we don't value the things that we have until they're gone on the Isle of Man, and part of my role is really to make sure that people understand that. And when we look at Alman Meats, it's not just about its financial performance, it's about what does it do for the agricultural sector, it's about what does it do for the food and drink hospitality sectors on the island, and what does it do for animals being shipped off Ireland, because the public doesn't like the thought of live animals being shipped across to go to slaughter, and that has reduced significantly. But if we didn't have a meat plant, then the only route to market for the farmers would be to live ship, and that wouldn't be palatable.
But just finish with then, still a lot to do, or you're on the home stretch here? I'm just trying to feel that this how the super tanker's being turned around.
Yeah, we've got, provided that there is this continued support from our shareholder and from Treasury at the sort of level that it's at the moment, then I'm very confident. There's always room for improvement. We need to be growing our markets. We need to be providing better returns to our stakeholders, and the farmers are getting a good price. Could they be getting a better price? Yes, they could. Because of course the cost of farming on the Isle of Man is much higher than it would be in some other places. So my nature and the nature of the team is always to be looking to improve. I think the two biggest priorities at the moment are around improving our commercial trading with our customers, growing the local market. We grew at 26% last year, which is phenomenal. There aren't many businesses on the Isle of Man that grew.
Is that COVID related at all?
Yes, I think people started to recognise that food security was important. They recognised that by buying local, they were supporting not just the butcher or the retailer that they were trading with, but directly back to the farm. I think also some of the supply chain became a bit more sophisticated in terms of home deliveries, for example. We've got a number of well-established companies operating home delivery of food and on the island now, and that's a great thing. We're talking with some of those companies as well at the moment, and we're very much open to developing collaborative relationships. For any relationship, it has to work for both parties, and I think it's very, very important to the Isle of Man that we make Isle of Man meats a continued success.